Breaking right now. The brand new Prince Harry and Meghan Markle Netflix series finally has an air date, December the 10th, and the first trailer has been released. And Angela Levin, Prince Harry's biographer, Queen Camilla's biographer, our royal mastermind who joins me now, Angela Levin, I'm going to make a prediction right here, right now. This show is going to be their biggest commercial disaster yet because the trailer is sleazy. It is completely out of touch where the rest of the world is at. And it shows that Harry and Meghan are living in their own little reality. Am I wrong?
No, I agree with you completely. I mean, it's ridiculous. Even in that small few seconds, really, you could see that it's wrong. Um, the man comes up and says about Polo, it's not just hitting something, it's your life. You have to live it all the time. And then there's some sort of woman who's trying to look sexy, I think, saying, oh, they're so sexy as well. And they get dirty and smelly. It's lovely. And you think, excuse me, is this all about Polo as a sort of factual thing of how it operates, and look at men and say, oh my goodness, wow, aren't they lovely? And you think, well, who did the woman's one? Was it Meghan who got involved in that because she knows nothing about polo? And was that her suggestion? And it gives you a little bit of a and it's just painful. The thing is, it's gone through all their lives since they left the royal family in 2020, that they don't want to be told anything, especially not Meghan. They know it all themselves. They're the producers. What do they know about producers, really? Harry, zilch. Meghan, slightly more than zilch. It's a very stupid thing to do, just to have your name like that, which was on, I think, for just a second, quite
Yeah, but
understandably.
right at the start, though. Right near the
And
start.
and then what are they doing? I mean, it is absurd, and they've got a lot of people very, very annoyed about the way that the horses have been treated, and I think they're going to take some sort of action of not being fair to them, and they don't like it one bit. So the whole thing looks a total disaster. I wonder why Netflix has done it. Is it, do you think, because this says to them, right, this is it, we've done it, we've finished now. Let's show them what we've got. Let's tell them what people are saying about it. And that's it. It's an astonishing thing, isn't it?
All right, folks, this is beyond shocking. Reports are now saying that Prince Harry hasn't seen his own children in 2 months. 2 months. Now, let's be honest. What kind of father, especially one who claims to be so devoted to his family, just disappears for weeks at a time? This is the same Harry who for years has been whining about how the royal family took away his freedom, and how he had to escape to California to live his authentic life. But what's authentic about avoiding your children for months? And what's Meghan's role in all of this? Is she pushing him away, or is Harry running from his own home life? There have been ongoing rumors that Meghan and Harry are living separate lives, and this latest development only fuels the speculation. Let's not forget, Meghan has carefully crafted an image of herself as the perfect mother, always playing the doting wife and parent in public. But behind the scenes, is Harry just an afterthought in this Hollywood fairy tale?
I find the whole thing astonishing, Angela, because, look, I'm very anti-woke, right? But they are, and I know you are too. I know you are too. But they are the biggest campaigners for woke, right? And equality. Yet this series absolutely reinforces everything that they claim to hate, which is the men go and play polo, make the money, and the women prance around and dresses drinking champagne. Again, I obviously see nothing wrong with that, right, as a concept, but it just shows you, I think, how corrupted Harry and Meghan's brand is.
Yes. Well, I think it's I think when people try and absolutely make a brand, they've got to take it very seriously. But in this case, I think they've got trying to keep it fun as well as letting people learn how difficult it is to play polo. And to do that is just to think quickly, oh, let's get some pretty women in. But I don't think they're doing it because they're really after with the woke side. I think they're doing it because it's the first thing that came into their heads and that's what they're going to do. But it means nothing. And I think they don't step back and look and say, how are other people going to feel about this? Have we done it right for other people? And that sign that's just up there, is it unclear if Prince Harry will feature in Polo? Well, I think the rumor is that he doesn't. He's not in it, but we'll have to wait and see. But the whole thing, I mean, it's a great mess, isn't it?
It's a total mess. It's a total mess because they have spent so much money on this deal to basically get a low-grade Real Housewives of Polo type show, which could have been made much, much easier without paying Harry and Meghan well over $100 million. It makes no sense. And the thing is, Angela, if you look at the dislike figures online, far, far more people who are look, there you go. Look at that. So far, far more people who are watching the trailer are saying, we don't like this. Now, people might hate watch the first episode. Let's be honest, Angela, for our professional duty, we will hate watch the first episode. We will report back on it. But the problem is, to be successful as TV producers, you actually really have to get people to buy in to what you're selling.
Yes, but the thing is, again, it's all bitty. They think, what would be nice? Let's have champagne. You know, if somebody wants to watch a program on Polo for 5 different times, then they want to really learn about it, you know, be interesting. It's like learning how to play football or anything like that. So you take it seriously doing that. But if you then say, well, you've got to have women who are all sexy and sort of looking at the boys and finding them all very attractive, but you're not going to have the same people watching it because both are going to be bored with the other side. So it's just ridiculously done. I mean, I've never seen anything so terrible in 15 seconds that you could imagine. I mean, it's almost taking a joke of yourself, isn't it?
And let's really think about this. Harry has nothing tying him down professionally. His Netflix projects are failing, his Spotify deal is dead, and his lawsuits against the British press aren't exactly helping his public image. So, if he has all the time in the world, why isn't he spending it with his kids? The optics here are terrible, because let's be real, if this were Prince William, the media would be tearing him apart. But Harry? Silence. No accountability. No explanations. And the longer this goes on, the more people are going to question what's really happening behind closed doors.
Yeah, exactly. They are making a mockery of themselves now. They are social campaigners, social justice warriors who actually are now the purveyors of the most elitist sport in the world. Now, again, Angela, I have to be very clear on this. I'm not doing down polo, right? There is, of course, space. If people are prepared to pay all of that money to be part of a sport like that and they enjoy it, absolutely fine. But it's the hypocrisy. It is the complete hypocrisy from these two who tell normal folk like us to do all of these special things when we travel so that we're not putting out carbon emissions, but then take private jets every single place they go. It's that type of hypocrisy. If Harry did not play polo, Meghan would be campaigning against polo.
Yes. Well, I mean, they're just very, very silly. They shouldn't have had, they shouldn't have been producers. They shouldn't have had their names at the top of it because they're going to get all the rubbish thrown at them to say what a terrible thing you've done. It's just hopeless. I don't know how they can see. I mean, Meghan does listen. We've heard that. She gets people as a member of staff, but she doesn't listen to them because she thinks she knows best. This is an example of Meghan knowing best. But what a terrible example it is, because You can see it's rubbish.
Totally. Now, look, Angela, we've spoken, of course, about the growing strains in Harry and Meghan's relationship, the fact that they have spent this week apart with Harry in Canada looking very happy, Meghan claiming that she's joyful while attending the launch of her business venture, Highbrow Hippie. But Angela, you've got some new information, or at least hearing rumours about whether Harry and Meghan are going to be together at Christmas this year.
Yes. Well, I think that's it would be terrible if they're not for their children. He hasn't seen the children for 2 months, and if he stays away, floating around wherever he wants to, I mean, it's dreadful for the children. What he's planned is to host a virtual Christmas engagement for children who have lost a mother or a father. The charity is called Scotty's Little Soldiers. So it is for people who have been in the army and have been killed. But what his plan is, he wants to tell them what Christmas is like for a real life prince. Are they supposed to be bored or jealous? Why would telling children who've had that terrible event happen that seeing a prince and having a nice time at Christmas adds towards the prince, not necessarily for them? How can it compensate for the loss of a parent? I mean, it's absolutely absurd thing to do. And if it makes them jealous, that's absurd. If they're bored stiff, that's absurd. It's nothing. But Meghan will not be with him, which is very, very significant, I think. But
And
I
Angela,
feel
it's so shocking, isn't it? Because it's not like the children have lots of extended family members.
And just when you think Harry and Meghan couldn't sink any lower, here comes another Netflix disaster. They're now trying to sell the world on a Polo series, and let me tell you, it is not going well. First of all, who even asked for this? Polo is not exactly the most thrilling sport for television, yet here we are with Harry and Meghan trying to make it sexy. The problem? It's just awkward.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, the poor children, they don't have grandfathers. They don't have
Well,
one
they
grandmother.
do. They're just both banned,
Not
right?
that they see, not that
Yeah.
they see.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
don't see their cousins, they don't see their aunts, they don't see their uncles. They are not within a family framework, and it can be lovely for children to see all their family, and Christmas is a wonderful time for them to enjoy it. But if your parents are not going to be together and you're not going to see anybody else, not that they know what the real pain of that could be, I just feel immensely sorry for them, really. And that's why I feel that Harry, who's now trying to be a teacher, is he shouldn't be allowed to do it, actually.
Well, yes. Can we talk about this, please, Angela? Because just explain to me what's going on here. So Prince Harry is almost trying to reinvent the Invictus Games, which is going to be held in Canada early next year. But as part of that, he seems to be focusing his attention very much at school children. And actually, just before you go into it, Angela, I just want to show you just this TV ad which he is using to promote the Invictus Games in Canada. Watch this.
Life-changing event. It's something that has the power to transform your life forever. From that moment forward, nothing is the same. This is the power of the Invictus Games.
Sport has the ability to heal, to change lives, and to save lives.
I am Patrick Levy. The Invictus Games changed my life. Don't miss a chance.
So, Angela, this is a big push, but you're concerned that the focus seems to be on school children.
Yes, he wants to expand it so that it's not just for adults who've had terrible, that been through a terrible time and lost a leg, or they got psychological issues from being in a war zone. And he wants to make it available for children. I mean, he says his own involvement in Invictus Games, and listen to this about me, it made a profound impact on him when he was in his 20s, don't forget. But he wants to do it with young children, and so that they see how it is much younger. Now, do you think that they should see terrible wounds, people struggling to give a normal life after they've had a terrible time with the army? I mean, how possibly can you imagine that, actually? And also, I think that he shouldn't be allowed with anybody over 3. I think he's very good with little children, playing football, running around, making jokes and all that. But I think he's not an ideal to be a teacher. If you look at his early childhood, well, he was a real rebel at school. He was having drugs and cigarettes from 20, did little work. He liked childish tricks, putting a heavy book on the top of a door so it hit the teacher, shouting at William, jumping out behind a tree during a cross-country run, which William looked as if he was going to win. And William completely lost his concentration because this character, he didn't know it was Harry, said, I want an autograph, I want an autograph. And obviously is nervous about who can that be. So he lost his concentration, he lost his chance of winning.
Meghan is inserting herself into something that she clearly knows nothing about, trying to create this Gatsby-esque fantasy world where Polo is suddenly supposed to be the hottest thing in Hollywood. But let's be real, this is just another excuse for them to stay in the spotlight. Their royal connection is fading fast, their Hollywood brand is struggling, and at this point they are just throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks. And guess what? This Polo series is not sticking.
Harry played the fool. He asked to have the barber to have a skinhead cut, and the Buckingham Palace had to plead with journalists not to take any pictures of him like that because he looked absolutely shocking. He got into fights, kicked a window, and he had a crutch for after that. He's not a sort of person. Obviously, people grow up and they grow out of their naughtiness, but I think he still is a.
Yeah, but
a
I don't
naughty
think he's a
child
good
because-
role model as an adult, Angela, actually.
No, I was going to say, that when he had the what we were talking about, he had the neck thing. He had.
Oh, the tattoo.
But he had
The
the
fake tattoo.
Yes. Now that
With
was
jelly
a really
roll.
stupid thing. We wondered what it was. We thought he'd had it and he was in pain, but it was just a sort of joke. I think it's not a joke. I think it's a very childish thing, actually.
He's
and I
40.
think he's still in that Rome. Yes, he's 40 and he's a royal, and he thinks that that's a way of entertaining people.
And he's
And I think
swearing.
it's just-
He's talking about his private parts all the time. Angela, I think he is an embarrassment. And I believe that William thinks he's an embarrassment too, actually. It's
Yes,
so
I'm-
unbecoming. Could you ever imagine William acting in this manner?
No, of course not. And he should have grown out of it, but he hasn't grown out of it. So he shouldn't actually become a teacher and tell children what to do and show them nasty pictures of people with terrible war cuts and losing legs. I don't think that that's right. But the other part of that is that he needs money for the Invictus Games. And he's hoping that if he takes it round schools and things like that, they will give more money so that the Invictus Games can go ahead next February in Canada. But it does make you feel awful, I think.
Now, the thing is, Angela, they're losing friends as well because Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi, who really were the two big name celebrities who had stayed loyal to Harry and Meghan in Montecito, have quit and moved to the Cotswolds in the UK, where they're hanging out with Jeremy Clarkson in the cold. Personally, I think this is a very strange decision, Angela, given they lived in a $90 million mansion in Montecito. There it is. And about to deal with the cold sort of winter that we have to deal with. I don't think they'll last 5 minutes here, if I'm honest, Angela. But they've done it because of the Donald Trump factor. And we know Harry and Meghan are thinking about the Donald Trump factor too. So do you think losing really two of their only celebrity friends from Montecito will have a big impact on Harry and Meghan?
No, I don't. But actually, I read today that it wasn't because of Trump, although they hate him, but that they decided to come over quite a long time ago. And they planned it all, and there's nothing ahead of them that they wanted to do. And so they've come over for a change. See, they'll see Kate Moss, Elizabeth Hurley's, Stella McCarthy, Damien Hirst, and Highgrove is nearby, so they could pop round to see the King and Queen. But that's not going to happen, and I don't think that Meghan will go for that. But they can possibly like it, but they don't like America apparently anymore. And she's had a lot of criticism for the way she treated the staff who were with her. And I think she just thought, blow, she's very, very wealthy, multi-millionaire. And she thought she'd come over with her wife. But, I think they thought it was funny to say that about Trump, or maybe they didn't, I don't know. But they'll come over
certainly
and they'll be...
they want people to think that's why they've left the country.
Exactly.
I think that's probably a very good point.
Early reactions to the trailer have been brutal. People are calling it tone-deaf, boring, and completely detached from reality. And can we talk about the sleaze factor? It's like they're trying to market Polo as some exclusive, scandalous, elite playground for the rich, which, let's be honest, is just another way for them to separate themselves from the common folk they claim to relate to. And let's not forget, Netflix has already lost faith in the Sussexes. After their underwhelming documentary, their failed podcast deal, and their unpopular content, this Polo mess might just be the final nail in the coffin. And I have to ask, is this really what Harry wants? He left the royal family to escape elitism, yet here he is, pushing an outdated aristocratic sport onto an audience that couldn't care less. It's beyond embarrassing. So where does this leave us? Harry is absent, Meghan is focused on her brand, and their Netflix projects are tanking. Is this the beginning of the end? Because let's be real, this marriage, this Hollywood dream, this brand they've built, it's all looking shakier than ever. And here's the real question. How much longer can this go on? How much longer can Harry live in denial, chasing a career that isn't working while his personal life crumbles? Because at some point something's got to give. So what do you think? Is Harry and Meghan's empire about to collapse? Is this the final proof that Harry has lost his way? And should Netflix just cancel this Polo disaster before it even airs? Let me know in the comments.